It was a chilly Monday morning when 12-year-old Marcus walked into his seventh grade classroom clutching a tattered notebook. His hands were cold, but his heart was warm with something rare for a boy his age: ambition. Not just any ambition. Marcus didn't want to be a rapper or a basketball star like many of the boys in his neighborhood. He wanted to be a lawyer, a Harvard lawyer. That dream, written in big letters on the front page of his notebook, was something he carried with pride. Harvard Law School, it read in bold letters, underlined twice. It wasn't just a fantasy. He spent hours reading about it, watching speeches from alumni, and even practicing how to introduce himself as Marcus Thompson, future graduate of Harvard Law. But not everyone believed in Marcus's dream, especially not his history teacher, Mr. Callahan. Mr. Callahan was the kind of teacher who walked in with his coffee and sarcasm and never really made time to understand his students. He saw kids like Marcus every year, black boys from low-income neighborhoods with dreams far bigger than their zip codes. In Mr. Callahan's world, those dreams were just noise, unrealistic expectations that would only lead to disappointment. So when the class was asked to present their career goals that morning, Marcus stood up with a nervous excitement. He adjusted his collar, took a breath, and began to speak from the heart. I want to become a civil rights lawyer and graduate from Harvard Law School. I want to help people who can't help themselves, he said, his voice steady but hopeful. The classroom fell silent for a moment. Some students smiled, others rolled their eyes, but it was Mr. Callahan's response that hit the hardest. He chuckled, loud enough for the whole class to hear. Harvard, huh? That's a nice dream, Marcus. But maybe aim for something a little more realistic. Let's start with passing this class, shall we? A few students laughed nervously, unsure whether they were allowed to or not. Marcus froze, his smile disappearing. His face burned, not with anger, but with embarrassment. He sank back into his seat, his notebook pressed tightly against his chest. But what Mr. Callahan didn't know, what he could have never predicted, was that this wasn't just some fantasy for Marcus. It was a goal fueled by something deep. A promise he had made to his late father, who used to tell him, "Don't let this world decide who you are. You decide who you're going to be." Later that day, Marcus stayed behind in the school library. He flipped through a book about Thurgood Marshall, the first black Supreme Court justice, and jotted notes into his notebook. His determination hadn't faded, just dimmed a bit. He kept whispering to himself, Harvard, I can do this. The next morning, the school was buzzing with news that a guest speaker from a university was visiting. The teachers weren't told who exactly. It was all arranged by the school district as part of a surprise tour to encourage academic motivation. By third period, the atmosphere shifted. An unfamiliar woman in a tailored coat stepped into the classroom, accompanied by the principal. She was tall, graceful, and carried herself with quiet confidence. "Good morning, class," she said warmly. "My name is Dr. Elaine Richardson. I'm a dean at Harvard University." The class murmured in shock. Mr. Callahan stood straighter, suddenly more alert. "We've been visiting schools across the state to meet with students who show exceptional promise," she continued. "Young minds that dream beyond their circumstances." Her eyes scanned the room, then stopped. "Is there a Marcus Thompson here?" Marcus looked up, unsure if he heard correctly. "Yes, ma'am," he said, almost in a whisper. She smiled. "I've read some of your writing. Your letter reached us last month. Beautiful words about justice, equity, and your dream of Harvard. I wanted to meet you in person." The room was silent again, but this time for a different reason. No one was laughing. No one rolled their eyes. Marcus slowly stood up, glancing over at Mr. Callahan, who looked like someone had pressed pause on him. "Would you mind walking with me for a bit?" Dr. Richardson asked kindly. Marcus followed her out of the room, notebook still clutched in his hand. In the hallway, she told him how his letter had made its way through the admissions outreach team and how impressed they were with his passion at such a young age. She gave him a Harvard lapel pin and told him to wear it as a reminder that no dream was too big when matched with hard work. I don't care what anybody says about your background or where you come from, she told him. What matters is where you're going, and I believe you're going to make it. Tears welled up in Marcus's eyes. He couldn't believe it. A Harvard dean had come to his school, his class, looking for him. When he walked back into the room, something had